Hello there folks, my name is Spooks and welcome back to another episode of Box Office Chat. This is the show where I break down the top 5 domestic box office results, see where each movie landed, and see how well each movie did. So let's get started. Number 5 was Barbie, making $5.7 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $620 million and a worldwide total of $1.4 billion. So while it does seem likely that Barbie is meeting her end in the top 5, she is still holding like a champ, falling 44%, which is not only a great hold, but is also surprisingly the biggest drop-off she's ever had in her entire theatrical run, which is quite impressive given everything. It's still maintaining its core audience, and people are still going out to see it. And while, despite it being a much more slower time at the box office due to the number of movies, it does seem likely that Barbie will be out of the top 5 very soon. But still, the fact that she's already made so much money, becoming the biggest movie of the year, both domestically and worldwide, at least she leaves the top 5 looking like a champ, because my goodness, what a phenomenon this movie has become. I don't see any movie surpassing this thing. It will be a miracle if anything comes close to what this movie did, and I mean like a super big miracle. But overall, yes, Barbie continues to do very well. I'm running out of things to say because of how well it's done, so I'll just end off by saying congratulations, Barbie, you did a great job. Number 4 was Jawan, opening with $6.1 million this weekend, and including the Thursday numbers, it adds to a domestic total of $7 million and a worldwide total of $10 million. This is another little Bollywood movie that managed to crack into the top 5 under my notice. I apologize for not being more aware that this movie was coming out. I just did not see a lot of ads or promotion for this, but clearly a lot of other people did that managed to crack it into the top 5, which, as I've said before, is always nice to see these international films cracking into the domestic top 5. It shows that there is an audience out there that will go and support these movies and manage to give them a bit of recognition at the box office, which is always wonderful and nice to see. However, I do feel like this is going to follow the trend in those international films where they do have a solid opening but plummet in their second weekends, given that they're almost always very front loaded, and I see the same thing happening with this one. But even so, the fact that this was able to crack the top 5, let alone top Barbie, even this late in the game, is quite impressive. So yeah, good on you, Jawan, for cracking into the top 5. Number 3 was, funny enough, My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3, opening with $10 million this weekend domestically and $12 million worldwide. So if you remember last weekend, I didn't have the biggest expectations for this movie. I just saw a little buzz, little interest for this movie. And while I did think it would crack the top 5, I didn't think it would do too much. But hey, it managed to crack the double digits. I guess it tapped into the My Big Fat Greek Wedding fan base for how little it must be, I guess. Or it managed to crack into that older audience demographic, the type of audience that saw like 80 for Brady or Book Club 2, if you even remember those movies. But yeah, it managed to do surprisingly better than expected. These aren't great numbers by any means. I don't know the budget on this thing, so we'll definitely have to wait and see if this movie can, even though this is pretty much rather unlikely, managed to pull off what the first My Big Fat Greek Wedding did and managed to have strong legs, which once again seems unlikely given that audiences don't really care too much about this. It got a B on CinemaScore, which isn't great, so I'm not expecting big legs for this, and I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be out of the top 5 very soon. But yeah, the fact that it managed to exceed my expectations, it is worthy of praise alone. So yeah, good job, My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3. You surpassed my low expectations. Number 2 was The Equalizer 3, making $12 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $61 million and a worldwide total of $107 million. So the film had a rather steep drop this weekend, which surprised me. I thought, the positive response last weekend from audiences would have this movie have a better hold, but no, I guess it was a lot more front loaded than a lot of people expected. However, I don't think this is like another Gran Turismo where like, ugh, this is concerning, because the movie is still headed in the right direction. It's just 40 million away from surpassing 100 million domestically, which I definitely think is pretty much guaranteed that this movie will be able to surpass. It's already surpassed that milestone worldwide, and I think if the movie can pick itself back up from this drop off, I could see it doubling that budget worldwide. It's just gonna have to really stand out from the crowd, which may not be that hard to do during this stage in the box office, given how light things are right now, but you never know. So word of mouth is still very strong on this movie. I still see people talking about it, recommending people. So yeah, I don't think this is a cause for alarm, but it is rather definitely surprising to see this movie take quite as big of a hit as it did. But still, it's still headed in the right direction. This isn't like a catastrophic, it's not like The Flash or anything. But yeah, definitely surprising drop off for sure for The Equalizer 3. And finally, let's end the video off with the number one movie of the weekend, which was The Nun 2. Opening with $32 million this weekend domestically and $88 million worldwide. This is the third biggest opening weekend for a horror film this year, topping Megan and Evil Dead Rise, but still sitting behind Insidious: The Red Door and Scream 6. And while it is definitely lower than the previous Nuns opening back in 2018, I'd still say this is a pretty solid opening. The budget has this at $38 million, and given how much it's opened at domestically, that's pretty much a lot of this budget back. And worldwide, when you put that in consideration, that's more than enough. This is definitely surpassing 100 million worldwide, probably by the next couple days. This movie really took off internationally, and once again, it adds to the stellar year horror has. People just love being scared. It's a spin-off of The Conjuring, one of the biggest horror franchises of the modern day, and people just love the nun character, apparently, as well as the fact that the marketing was solid. I saw a lot of ads for this, and the buzz was there. It also helps that spooky season is upon us. Like I said, Halloween Horror Nights is opening. I'm starting to see some spirit Halloweens pop up around me. And yeah, people are starting to get ready for Halloween. And this was definitely something to kick it off. However, I do believe this will probably fall in line with something like Insidious, where the opening is great, but its legs may be harpened. It did get a C+ on CinemaScore, which isn't great, maybe for a horror movie, but I still think that's a bit concerning, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a big drop-off this coming weekend, given poor response from audiences. But yeah, otherwise, given that it's pretty much doubled that budget worldwide, it shouldn't be in any trouble. And yeah, this is a great opening, a great start, and yeah, overall, another successful opening for the horror genre this year. So good on you, The Nun 2. You did very well this weekend. And those were your top 5 domestic box office results for this weekend, but we're not quite done yet, as we've got another week ahead of us and new movies hitting theaters. And this weekend we have one new major wide release, that film being A Haunting in Venice. The third murder mystery film starring Hercule Poirot, because I guess Death on the Nile was a big hit on Hulu that they thought to do another one a little over a year after that one. It honestly surprised me how fast they got this movie out. But anyways, this is an interesting one because, look, we are definitely in better times for movie going. The last one definitely had some qualifications, some things that affected its box office, and the fact that not a lot of people really liked that movie. However, I do see some things that may help this movie out. Maybe, like I said, its popularity on Hulu may have piqued some people's interest. The marketing does seem to be a bit there. It's not anything spectacular, but I'm seeing promotion for it. The horror element, we're in September, and I think that might pique people's interest, with spooky season and all of that. And reviews so far are very positive. Honestly, that it's kind of surprising. These have been some of the best reviews this franchise has gotten thus far, honestly. And given that it's geared towards an older audience, I wouldn't be surprised to see a bigger turnout, kind of like what happened with My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3. The downside here is there's not a lot of interest I'm seeing, not a lot of buzz. I don't see too much people talking about this, so that's also a big factor into why I'm being a bit hesitant. And the last one, a lot of people just didn't really care for that one, so this is definitely going to be an interesting opening to see. We'll definitely see how well this movie does, as well as the rest of the movies that landed the top 5 on the next Box Office Chat. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of Box Office Chat. What did you all think of the results? Were you satisfied, unsatisfied? Comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on all the social media links right there. And until next time, everyone, stay sharp.